We at war.
DRX, lock and load.
Yeah. We at war. We at war.
Going to war.
Yeah.
No cap.
We at war.
Big snuggler.
Yeah.
King cuddler.
We at war. We at war.
Let's go.
Yeah. NFTs, nuts. It's a drug war. All info, guns drawn. To the mother.
Oh, so I've got a fade out. We're doing fade outs these days.
Yeah, I always want to play longer.
We're a slick production unit. Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good night, good morrow, whatever the case may be, wherever you are joining us from.
Wait. Was one of those people in medieval England?
Good morrow. Yes, they were. Yes, medieval England. I thought it fit in with the whole ecosystem law. You know, I thought, why not throw the good morrow in there today?
Some of our people are in medieval England. That is true. You have to be inclusive. I would hate to leave them out.
Exactly. And we are here for the final recap for the round of 32, which has been a ball terror. I'm in Australia now, so all the Australian stuff's coming out. It's been a ball terror of a round.
A ball terror? Is that a real
do
Australian
I need to explain
term?
that? That is a real Australian term. Do I need to explain that one? It means very exciting. It means it was so exciting. It
I
tore
see.
your balls off.
The
ball terror.
Evening from England, Al.
Very good.
Keep going.
And a shout out to everybody that joins us live on the recap. We have our drug overlords, Mr. Arlo Eisenberg and Brooke Howard-Smith in the room. And you'll notice that for those of you who are watching this on a visual medium, which is the preferred method on our YouTube, please jump in there and like and subscribe. Arlo is getting himself done a tattoo live during the recap.
Or a very slow leg shave. I feel like that could also be one of those Dallas, Texas leg shaving salons that I've heard so much about. And it's just slowly
That is actually
shaving
part of the
one
process. The only soothing, enjoyable part, he shaved my leg and then like oiled it down.
Oh,
Quite nice.
What's
actually.
your today, Arlo? What's the chosen tattoo? What are you doing? A panther?
It's based on something from the philosopher Rene Descartes. It's a evil demon, something that he postulated, like to question knowledge, like how we could know anything or how we could ever have confidence in anything that we know. If there was a demon or a god powerful enough to change our perception, then how can we know if anything that we perceive is actually true?
That's the argument for a deceitful God. It's a very enlightened way for us to start today's Descartes.
Well, it's interesting you said that. The reason I'm getting an evil demon is because, in fact, exactly to get around that criticism of his argument, he had to create something that was different than God. So that because a God could do the exact same thing, but our God is all loving and would not deceive us. So he conceived of an evil demon to take his place.
Yes, I see what you're saying. What he didn't want to do is get burnt alive, is what you're saying. He was like, because I don't know, what was Descartes? When did Descartes live? What was his time period?
I think that'd probably be like 17th century.
Can you imagine being that smart, like Descartes and Kant and all these folk, and just knowing that, like, you have to postulate everything in a way that you're not going to get burned alive that day? like amazing.
They are the definition
for deceitful. Wait a second. Yeah, amazing. But if you guys aren't aware, and it's really interesting, obviously, as we plow head first into simulation, Descartes reading. Descartes is really useful if you're interested in this argument for a simulation as well. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to bring this back into modern technology, but obviously argument for dreaming and deceitful God and all these things are really interesting.
It is. I mean, they are totally related. It is kind of an argument, right, for living in a simulation or simulated reality.
Yeah.
And of course, right. the response to it, Descartes also came up with a solution, which is, he's famous for the quote that I think, therefore I am, right? Yep. And so that creates a baseline basically for it is possible to know something, because even if that's, even if you're being deceived by an evil demon or a manipulative God, you are thinking. The fact that you even have that thought is something, and so it gives you a starting point for knowing, for something being able to be true, and then you can build on that.
Yeah, the foundational layer. And for those of you, again, some of you will be like, this is like we're in metaphysics 101.
Are we
And other
watching the
people will be
drug
interested. What's that?
recap? Are we watching
Yeah,
the
this
drug?
is
A lot of people are going to be
straight up
seeing the thing.
recap.
Who
Of course,
won
the
the
last
fucking?
round. In the last round, we covered all of this off, so we're just recapping what we covered off.
Descartes.
Yeah, if you're
And join us
okay,
tomorrow when we dive deep into some Nietzsche philosophy around what the soothsayers of the 15th century would have thought about this simulated world that we may or may not be living in.
yeah, I'm not going to join in that conversation, but it sounds great. Well, we've got a break tomorrow. There's a break. You're giving me us a
Yes.
holiday, right?
Yeah. Yes, it
Okay,
is.
well,
It's a day
let's
off.
get
I
back
get to
into
sleep
it
in.
then.
Okay, here we go. So let's have a look at what the shakeup was over the last 24 hours. The Babes in Blue took on Fall from Grace. 3 Gregs and a Karen took on Make Way for Queen's Guards. Up, down, done, and out. I got a feeling we did this one already.
Yeah, we
Yes,
100% did this one.
We're recapping recaps.
That's
So
good.
the division of 32, the round of 32 division 4A, 4B is the card we're looking for.
Yeah.
Quick look here.
This feels like an argument for Deceitful Dawn is what we're going
Deceitful
through right
Dawn.
now.
We had the 4 Eyes of Oz take on 4 Stuck in the Pink. We had Peace de Resistance take on Pinkies in the Brain. We had Quick, Hide It in Your Ass, take on Make Love, Not War. And High Day the 13th taking on the Masqueraders, which was a very tightly fought round and some rather unusual looking results, but let's go through them. Do we have them queued up, producer, for the first matchup?
While you're doing that, there is actually some drama happening in the chat right now because Selena's actually
That's
pointed
not
out
right.
something.
Guys, we're in Division 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're still going. I'm just covering for you at the moment, Trevor. You are all over the show. But listen, let's talk
I'm not
about something
producing.
that's
I
happening.
think
in
Dawn
the chat
wanted to
here.
show the evil demon there, the Red Devil Tabby, the drug receipts version of our evil. There you go.
Well, evil demon. There she is in all her glory, and still triumphant and moving into the round of 16.
Okay.
So in
This is
lieu
going
of
perfectly, guys.
yes,
High
in lieu
five.
of the
We're going so good today.
The 3 Gregs and a Karen just thought they'd come back in spirit form and take us off track just a little. Okay, so in lieu of our battle cards, I won't know if we had any bounties go off because that's how I find out.
I want
Let's
to
have a look.
apologize firstly for if it is your first one of these recaps. Usually they are slicker than this. About 5% slicker than this, but about
if we don't have the cards, we can share screen and look at the previous battle.
Let's do that.
All right, let's jump in there. Let me just quickly go into that.
Shout out to everyone else joining us. Metaverse D's in the chat, Super Bowl. Selena, who I've just realized is using a PFP that's not hers. She's pointed that out, which I feel like that's worthy of a discussion whether or not that's even allowed.
Is she using Tyler's?
Yeah.
It's
from the full launch.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when we were all just freestyling.
Very good. Okay, let's jump into the previous battle arena. Bring that up. And here we have it. So 4 Eyes of Oz taking on 4 Stuck in the Pink with a total of 71 votes to 44. We have 4 Eyes of Oz taking out that battle. So our tabbies with the ruby red slippers move on to the final 16. Arlo, what do you make of this?
Well, speaking of Tyler, Brooke was going in on Selena's PFP, but so this is a team from the Tyler Trey Alliance. So still in the tournament. That's good. And with a pretty strong victory here. So looking like a a totally legitimate contender. A lot of nice things in the Four Eyes of Oz.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the ruby red slippers, but also they all have patches. They're all
Yeah.
tabbies, all have patches, all have ruby red slippers.
Yeah, so good.
Pretty nice
Yeah.
collection. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
nice.
And it's kind
to
of a
give you a
standout
sense-
because it's not a trait that outside of Tyler's Trait Alliance, right? You don't see a lot of teams in here representing ruby red slippers or any of the other Tyler traits, really. So that's kind of cool. Point of distinction.
So, guys, there's 4% of the collection listed. It's like, or less than 4% of the collection listed, which is like tiny. And
Mhm.
so, me trying to build my team up and trying to find multiple traits, like to build something like this, like that's such a cool. I mean, I can say that that's where my vote went because I'm a just big believer in someone that's able to collect either
Yes.
through kind of like a syndicate or just in any way, shape, or form, get all 4 of those
Mhm.
together. And then the other thing is, as I mentioned in yesterday's podcast, I love going through the ticking like 3 things, and invariably it's just 3 of them. That's what this collection does. There's only 3 fucking of those things. So
That was
moving
a design that we built into the collection with this competition in mind to make sure that it provided maximum frustration for our viewers. Okay, here we go. Moving on to the second battle of the final round of 32. We had Piece de Resistance taking on Pinkies in the Brain, with Pinkies in the Brain triumphing with 70 votes to 46. A tough
That's great.
matchup.
I like the way that you piece de resistance and then triumph, of course, is a French word. So that was
Yes.
triumphant.
Those are my 3 French words, and the 2 of them that I learned for this competition, basically because Mr. Elby put them up on, and I had to learn them. I didn't understand what the little lines above the E's were, although I should, because here's an interesting fact. My surname is supposed to be spelt with an umlaut.
Is it?
I'm doing that because that's the 2 dots.
Well, it's a
above
very
the O.
it's a very German.
That should be
thing to do.
self-explanatory. Yes. So we dropped the umlaut to appear less German-oriented. Yeah, for some reason or other.
Opfer.
Topfer. Well, we went to Oktoberfest and everybody else was dressed up. We were, well, we're the only ones here with a German surname. So,
Okay.
okay. That's the one day a year we're proud. No, I'm joking. I'm very, very much joking. Okay. So, Arlo, what do you make of this? Pinkies in the Brain triumphing, a very nicely curated card indeed.
Yeah, and I think probably in the end that might have been the difference, because going into this, I wouldn't have been able to call these are such prominent and active team managers or team owners. And Piece de Resistance has been so good with propaganda, as has Pinkies in the Brain. So I would have thought it was a toss-up, but you get people coming in here that probably aren't, as steeped in the community, don't know, aren't seeing all the propaganda, don't know all the history. And Pinkies in the Brain, I think, definitely has more kind of eye appeal just at a, for a casual viewer. Right. And so not only was I surprised, I this could have gone on either way. I was surprised that the margin of victory was as wide as it was. And I think it's probably because you're getting some people in here that are voting that don't know as much, or that don't, probably are not as influenced by the propaganda.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's some people pure aesthetics. They're just voting straight on like
exactly. And in that way, I think that Pinkies in the Brain definitely has an advantage. It's just it's got eye appeal.
It's very well done,
Gibson. Okay, congratulations to Pinkies in the Brain for moving on to the final.
But
16.
sorry to see Piece de Resistance leaving.
Yes.
I mean, it has been a very, very stout competitor.
And unfortunately, both himself and his beautiful wife were knocked out by the same player. So there may or may not be some blocking going on in Discord. I guess we'll find out.
Well, and we'll see. His wife still has a dog in the hunt, so we'll find out if how far they can make it, if they'll live to see another day.
And we haven't even talked about the national implications here. Can a Kiwi win this? Let's keep going.
Yes. It's like an international sport. What would be an international sporting equivalent?
I'm going to start voting.
Well, I did put out the call, Brooke. You might have missed the call. I put out that if a Kiwi wins this, we're having another drug snugglish meetup on us. So
was that right?
Yes, we're going to shout.
I mean, that did cost a lot of money, Trevor. I don't know if you could just throw that out.
We just threw it out there. That's how we roll here at Drug Receipts.
Okay, and it's actually also it's getting to springtime, which tells me that we should be doing these things on Waiheke, on a beautiful island.
Yes, and
Moving on.
around your barbecue, which would cost significantly less. All right, moving into the next battle we had. Quick, hide it in your ass, taking on Make Love, Not War, which was an interesting previous conversation that we were having backstage prior to this.
You mean those? Wait a second.
This recap that we were talking about, something that was very closely related and reminded me of this battle.
Was it a night in 1995 where you? What reminded you specifically about this battle?
Well, it was
we were just talking about
related conversation.
This is instant vindication, instant payback for the power couple. Make Love, Not War is right. That's our beloved Jamie's team, and her husband was just knocked out in the previous round, and here she is with a resounding victory to keep them in the hunt. This is Make Love, Not War is a crowd favorite. So I think that there's a lot of hopes, high hopes.
Good chance that that team could go all the way. There's a couple now that seem to be emerging as crowd favorites, as is reflected in the voting here, which what could only be described as a standing victory here. It was very, very powerful decision by the community at 47 to 68. Only one vote short, which I can't miss an opportunity to include in every Drug Wars recap.
Very cool. I voted the other way on this one, not because I am trying to not think about. I don't even know who owns most of these. Because I'm waking up early. I mean, I do, but sometimes. But I voted the other way just because that's the name of my upcoming autobiography. It's a crazy. So,
the story of my American journey. Quick. Okay.
Moving on. I went to make one other note about Make Love, Not War, and not to go in too hard on Piece de Resistance, but she doesn't suffer from any liabilities that might have done Piece de Resistance in. This is, in addition to having really great lore, it's a great story, Make Love, Not War, and the two couples there. It also is a nice looking card. So it really does have a lot of the ingredients to go far in the tournament. And we were commenting on how rare the Tyler's traits are in the how rarely represented they are in the tournament. But here we've got a couple of ruby red slippers also. So there's a lot of really nice things going on in Make Love, Not War.
Yes. Well, commiserations to the Hide in Your Ass team. They seem to have been shoved out the back door in replace for Make Love, Not War. Did you have one final comment on this battle, Brooke, before we move on?
No, just that's confusing me. Make Love, Not War is Mrs. Nice.
Yeah, you know what? They're totally right. I just did the did the longest explanation, and I got the wrong couple. So no vindication for Jamie. That's Mrs. Nicely.
Yes, it is Mrs.
Good.
Nicely.
And
our viewers.
This is the best recap ever.
So should we just take it from the top and start over?
Yeah, this is B-roll. This is the B-roll version. You are not watching the actual one. Tune in tomorrow when we were supposed to have a break where we will do the actual recap.
Thanks for tuning in for the dress rehearsal. Yeah, the recap.
Yeah.
I've been in broadcasting for a long time, Trevor. This is like C-roll max, or maybe even like less than that. There's not I don't know what this is. What they warned us about when they said the internet was going to ruin broadcasting. Specifically, what those.
Yes, we just wanted to highlight how it could go wrong. Okay, I'm moving on because otherwise we're just going to pour fuel on an already raging fire. Okay, here it is, the final battle of.
Oh yeah.
The round of 32 came in as the Masqueraders or the Masqueraders taking on High Day the 13th, and this
how hard was this? This is like, and it's so interesting. This is a couple of times we've had this HE double hockey sticks masks, kind of like taking on each other, right?
Yes,
it's cool.
It's a very interesting trait used here. Couldn't have been more unfortunate for both these teams to come up against each other in the competition. I mean, it's not early. We're probably in the midway through, but yeah, two hockey mask based teams going head to head is always going to be a tough one to pick. And as you can see, it's reflected in the votes, right? 58 to 61, very close. Not quite as close as the battle we saw yesterday, but very close indeed.
Yeah, and the further we go in the tournament, I mean, we just keep seeing this. There's more and more close matchups, things coming down to like really razor thin margins. And this one, these two teams are so evenly matched. I mean, right down to the traits on so many levels that it's not surprising that this one would have come down to the wire.
So, guys, there's been a request from Acro whether or not we play a video. I want to warn everybody now that if we're going to do another 4-minute just slice from a TV show, from a series that I haven't seen yet, I'm out again. How long is this video, Trevor?
I don't know. You have to ask Don. Don's in charge of production these days. Okay. So we'll play the video now, since it relates to
the last episode of Lost.
Yes, it's the last episode of Lost. Please, should we give our viewers a moment just to grab a cup of coffee or another beer, maybe order a pizza before we drop this one? All right, here we go. Let's have the video.
40 seconds.
That's 40 seconds.
Your best shot. Motherfucker.
Wow.
Yes, good.
That's how you do it.
I lost track of what happened there. What was happening there? They were on a roof fighting with them.
They were, yeah.
That was like almost like a boss battle. That looked like, in a special little stadium of their own, and a one punch take your head clean off. Yeah, that's a statement, isn't it? Good luck to whoever comes up against Friday the 13th in the next round. I'd hate to see what's going to happen to you.
Pulling no punches. Yeah.
Choose violence. That's their motto, isn't it?
Yep. One of those games.
One of them. Okay. Thank you very much. And congratulations to all of the victors as they move into the final round, or not final round, but the next round of 16, which kicks off in voting will open in about 24 hours' time for that, as the Drug Overlords need a little break. It's been an overwhelming couple of rounds, and we just need to go and party and get a few things out of our system, and then we'll be back for the next round.
Can I suggest something for the next rounds? It'd be really interesting. What if we don't show the results as it's going, and then people have to watch the show to get the results?
Ooh. Drop a comment in the comments below if you think that Brooke Howard-Smith has tapped into an amazing idea. I think it would definitely improve our viewership of this particular medium. I think what would also improve the viewership.
The viewers are great. The ones we've got are great. We're not trying to improve on you guys.
The numbers of our viewership, yes. No, we're in free fall here at this point. I think another thing that might improve the engagement would be holding back the announcement of who won in the Discord until after this, or to coincide with this. But we can talk about that not on air. Okay, so let's have the next. What does the next matchup look like, producer? We're into the round of 16. So
we're rolling through these fast, Trevor. Slick. That's going to look good.
Moving quickly. So we've got Serengeti out of here taking on Verde's Vixens.
Yes.
We have.
I just want to say, if I can just say a general comment on this as we go through it quickly, but in previous rounds, we've talked about like the marquee matchup. In this case, every single one of these is a marquee matchup. I was blown away by all these matchups. I mean, there's no weaknesses. There's no like easy matchups. It's all heavy hitters.
Yes, I agree. It's going to be almost impossible to choose as we get tighter and tighter into the competition. So good luck to both those teams, and good luck to anyone who has to pick their favorite between them. Moving through to the next battle, we have The Johnniest
yeah.
taking on Free from Addiction. Could you pick a closer curation than this, Arlo?
Yeah, I mean the white cards, 2 DRX sets, the colors. Like I said, every matchup here is really tough. And in a case like this, they even aesthetically look so evenly matched. It's gonna be hard to choose.
Indeed, indeed. The third battle would look like this: Search and Rescue taking on No Cap. We at war. This is going to be another one. Look, every single one. I feel like we need to come up with some superlatives now, so that we don't just keep saying the same, saying it in the same way. But it is a very challenging matchup here. I wonder if this is the time that No Cap, We at War, we get to see and hear from No Cap. We've had that massive anthem dropped, but very quiet since, relying on that initial piece of propaganda very heavily. But up against Search and Rescue, which is a Drug Wars favorite, it might be a time for them to step up and drop something new.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, the cards are what they are. You can't change them. The lore is on the card, the front of the cards, and all these teams have made it this far because they are really, really good. And just looking at the matchups right there, as we said, there are no weaknesses. These are all really great looking teams. But the propaganda is still in your control, and that is one way to create some differentiation, to create some noise and attention for your team. So absolutely, that could be the thing that gets one of these teams to the next round, because on so many other areas they seem to be really evenly matched.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, good luck to those two teams. And the final battle in this particular round would be Pink Riot taking on the M&M's crew, which is I mean, these guys are well and truly doxed by now. This is interesting because the previous battle and the owner of the previous battles, No Cap, and the owner of Pink Riot are the same person. So this is effectively M&M's taking down a team by the same people as the No Cap crew. So is this a gang-related Turk kind of battle, do you think?
Oh, no. We're just doing a Drug Wars thing with some really cool art that Arlo's done with that. I'm so sorry. We'll go back to the. So Arlo and I figured, listen, this Web3 thing, NFTs could be good. He did some art. And then there's community members now have been encouraged to create a card with some images, some of that art, and then the lore on the back. There's no gang, as far as I can tell, relation is all Trevor at all. I feel like there's
gang relation,
virtually no chance of that. Yeah, so it's okay. We're safe.
We're good. Okay, that's nice to know. Thank you. Well, good luck to anybody who has to pick one of their favorites in that team, and good luck to the team owners. We'll see in about 48 hours' time just who manages to make it through.
Did our social team just apologize for the broadcast?
that was me.
If they haven't yet, though, they probably should.
Yeah, no, I did.
Listen,
Center management.
I thought it was going to be good luck to go straight out of bed, and effectively
into the room
dress again. But apparently, that's not the case. So,
hey, I thought I would get a tattoo during the broadcast. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, and also you were like, "This is going to be,"
and now it's recorded forever. The worst that could happen.
Yeah. The worst part about this is your tattoo artist has had to listen to this. I feel like that's not fair. Really,
oh, he's not listening. He's so good at tuning me out.
Yep, done. Okay, easy as.
I've talked his ear off so much about free will and determinism. He just knows how not to listen.
Yeah.
He's like
he looks at his diary.
How come I'm here having to listen to
I can trust me, I can feel when the needle starts going a little deeper, a little harder. Just a little, yeah.
Say it again.
Yeah. Tell me a little more about determinism again. Super interesting, Arlo.
Yeah. I can tell that he looks at his booking list for the day and goes, "Shit, I didn't read Descartes last night. This is going to be a tough couple of hours for me."
Yeah, absolutely. I ignore, therefore I am.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I feel like this was what a way to start a day. Really a way to start a day. We started out big and strong with some metaphysics. We ended
We end
With
it.
some metaphysics.
That's all.
With
We
some
ended.
more
That's the best thing
metaphysics.
we can say for it. We
That's
ended.
the best I can say about this. By the way, that's when you would end it, Trevor. If we were on point,
I
that
don't
would
have
mean
control.
we
You
end
keep
it.
at me like
Hey,
this.
can you clarify
No
something
hands,
for me?
Mum.
Yeah.
Just logistically or in terms of what's going on here. So we are off tomorrow. The voting doesn't the battles are up. You can look at the cards, but the voting doesn't actually start until tomorrow. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you can take your time this round, really get a good sense of the law and who you really want your votes to go for. I expect to see a flurry when the voting gates open, and we'll find our winners as we move into the busy end. Right, these are the ones that the winners of these rounds take on bosses. So
Is that right?
That's right. These are for division winners. Yeah, this is
It's
not
really
an
not
inconsequential
fair. I mean,
round. This is a big deal.
My
Yeah,
entry
it
is
is a
going to
big
be
deal.
shithouse compared to these guys.
Yeah,
And
well,
sorry.
you've had a lot more
Yeah,
time than
thank
them, so let's be honest about it. You can't claim that you
Yeah,
weren't
no
ready
excuses.
or you weren't prepared. So, with that being said, we will announce all of the bosses on the next episode of the Drug Wars
Wow.
recap. So tune
that
in.
right?
Cool.
We
Okay.
will, yes.
Oh yeah, because we're coming up on
Hey,
boss time. Yeah,
it's boss
time
battle
to do
day, right?
Yeah.
It's where
Okay.
we are. What are we? 72 hours away from boss battles, so it's all coming at you thick and fast here. Don't sleep on Drug Wars, or you may wake up and find that you didn't have a coffee before going live on air, and therefore
No,
the show
Trevor-
didn't quite go as smoothly as it normally does.
Who kicked Rook out?
I think Ray Greg himself.
Greg himself.
Oh, and on that beautiful bombshell, thank you very much for tuning in to this episode.
Let's
It's
get the
been a
Greg
great,
out of here.
rollicking time. Good luck, Arlo. I hope your Neiman turns out better than you could have hoped for.
Nice.
And
Thank
we will all see your snuggingly beautiful faces in 48 hours' time when we go through the first round of 16 and find out who is the first teams to take on their bosses. Good luck, everybody, and bye for now.
Bye.
Attention! Attention! Citizens of the drug receipt community!